So now let's look at the growth mindset. Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford University developed the growth mindset model when she and her colleagues were studying child development. Now, growth mindset is commonly used in schools because it helps young people to understand themselves and to understand how to stay motivated. The growth mindset may be something you've come across before. It's something that certainly schools have developed, and it is something that certainly head teachers have a tendency to try and encourage young people to think about, because it helps them to take the right approach to learning and to their futures. Professor Dweck discovered that the way we view ourselves has a huge impact on our motivation and ability to be successful in our lives. Various researchers have looked at what makes certain people achieve more than others, and Professor Anders Ericsson of Florida State University studied, for example, successful violinists. He looked at all the different attributes, socioeconomic, he looked at their hereditary, genetics, but he also looked at what they did, and he realized, or his research showed, that 10,000 hours of practice was the difference. So to become an expert at something, 10,000 hours of practice is the difference. In other words, it is not to do with how clever you are, how good you are at something, because you just happen to be talented. Research has shown that our brain capacity is not in fact fixed. So the idea of an IQ test that you take when you're young and that is it for the rest of your life has been seen to be false. And the reason for that is something called plasticity of the brain. In other words, your brain is able to grow and use more of its own capacity. In fact, they do say that we don't use much more than 10% of our brain function at any one time. So this idea of plasticity of the brain is how we use our brain more effectively. And what has been discovered is that if we deliberately practice something until we master it, that can be through a complex problem-solving type activity or something similar. What that does is it builds new pathways in the brain once we've done that successfully, and once that pathway's been built, it can be reused for other things. So, a fixed mindset limits our desire to try new things, try new challenges, and keeps us in our comfort zone. Being in our comfort zone is easier, and when we are less confident, it helps us to feel more secure. A growth mindset, however, means we're more open to new possibilities and makes us more flexible and adaptable, and therefore makes us more resilient. In the future world, with massive exponential and rapid change, there is going to be so much going on that we as human beings have to learn to be more flexible. It's true that as we get older, that flexibility seems to reduce dramatically if we let it. The creativity of youth is often lost because we become more serious and focused on what we're doing. However, a growth mindset is all about this openness to opportunity, openness to learning, and the concept of learning for life becomes a reality.